Once upon a time, a long time ago, or it could have been just yesterday, there was a cobbler who was busily cutting and sewing new shoes on a cold winter's day. He had made 3 pair for a family who lived in the village, and the last pair was nearly complete. He just had to finish a little bit more sewing. I'm a wee little cobbler in a wee little house who lives down the road, you see. And I sit and I mend shoes all day long. Bring your boots and shoes to me. Well, as the day grew to a close, the cobbler decided that he would bring his shoes home with him so that he could finish the stitches back at his home. For it was growing late, and he was getting quite hungry, and he knew that he had a fine pot of soup that he could put on the stove when he made it back to his home. So he took a backpack, and he put all the shoes in the backpack. It was a very, very cold evening, and so he put on his winter coat and a nice warm scarf, and then when he was ready, he closed up the shop, and out he went into the cold night air. Ooh, it was very cold when the wind blew, and so he stopped and he readjusted his scarf. But when he did, his pack slipped, and a shoe fell out, and he didn't even realize it, and onward he went, back to his home. Well, it just so happened that there was a little gray mouse who was busy watching when the cobbler dropped that shoe, and she came out from the snow and she sniffed all around that shoe. It was a very, very cold evening, and she needed a place to get out of the wind that blew so hard. So when at last she was confident that it was a safe place to be, she snuggled herself right into the shoe, and before long, she fell fast asleep. The wind blew, and at some point, the little mouse woke up with a start. Ooh! It was very cold inside that shoe. It was as cold inside the shoe as it was outside. And the little mouse knew that she needed to do something to make her home a little warmer and a little cozier. So, since the moon was bright and shining in the sky, she looked around and saw that she was safe, and she crept out of her shoe. And she went beneath a tree. A woodcutter had been there earlier, and there were wood chips that she found to put in her little shoe. She moved them all around to make it nice and cozy on the floor, but she realized that it was still not very warm. So again she looked all around, and she spied a cloth underneath a tree. And so since all was safe and clear, she scampered out of her little house, and she brought back the cloth, and into her little shoe house it went. Oh, that made it so much more cozy. The wood chips on the ground made it soft, and the cloth made it warm. But she realized that she still wasn't quite satisfied, for all that work that she had done made her very hungry. She looked left and she looked right, and then she spied in the distance a little pine cone. And so she crept over to the pine cone and she began to nibble and nibble and nibble. Oh, there were so many delicious seeds in that pine cone. She nibbled and nibbled and nibbled until her belly was soon full. And when she had eaten all she thought she could eat, she knew it was time to creep back to her home. She was moving a little more slowly than she had, and she realized that there were some nuts nearby. So she gathered a nut to bring back to her home for a snack for later. And as she did, she saw a great shadow coming from the forest. It was a big owl who meant to catch her in its very long talons, but the mouse dove into her house just in time, and the owl flew on without catching its mouse. "Ooh," said the little mouse, "that was a very close call. How lucky I am to have such a cozy place that's safe to sleep." And so she burrowed herself down into the little shoe, and before long, the little mouse was fast asleep. The wind blew the snow in the night. And the next morning, when the cobbler went back to his little shop, he was sad because he had lost one of the shoes that he was going to bring to the family. He would not be able to deliver the 3 pair today. And so, as he trudged back to the shop, he noticed a lump in the snow and a bit of color sticking out. Could this be the shoe that he had lost? He pushed back the snow, and it was! He found the missing shoe! But then when he looked carefully, he saw that there were tiny little footprints all around the shoe. Carefully, he picked the shoe up, and when he did, the little mouse woke up and scampered away as fast as she could, for she was afraid. The cobbler realized that the little mouse had made a home in the shoe, and he jumped out all the little pieces that she had stored inside. And when it was clean again, he brought the shoe back into his shop so he could finish doing the stitching. But oh, he was sad when he realized that that little house that the mouse had had was going to leave her without a home when he took it. So he found an old shoe. He mended the toe where there had been a big hole, and he even added an extra little wall to keep the wind out. And then he took all of the things that were in the other shoe, and carefully he placed them back inside. And he had noticed that there were some nuts nearby, and he took those nuts and he put those in the shoe as well. How happy he was when he thought about how that little mouse would be able to be cozy in that shoe. And off he went to deliver the pairs to the family. The little mouse had been watching, and when she saw that he left, she carefully crept out. She sniffed all around that new shoe to make sure that it was a cozy, safe place to be. And when at last she realized that it would be okay, into the shoe she went. And oh, how happy she was to find more nuts to eat for later. The little mouse snuggled down deep inside that new shoe house, and it was cozy indeed. And before long, that little mouse fell asleep, very content and happy. And if things have not changed, they are still the same today. Snip, snap, snout. This tale has been told out.